Breaking news out of Ottawa. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was just found guilty of breaking the Section 9 of the Conflict of Interest Act with regard to the SNC-Lavalin scandal by the Ethics Commissioner. And I want to read to you what exactly the Ethics Commissioner said. And this is unprecedented. This has never happened before in Canadian history. So this is breaking news. Partisan political interests were improperly put to the Attorney General for consideration in the SNC-Lavalin matter, contrary to long-standing principles relating to prosecutorial independence of the rule of law. Sorry for looking like this. I was out for a run and my phone was going bananas, and you need to know about this. Think about this for a second. The Prime Minister of Canada, a G7 country, was just found guilty of having interfered in our justice system, in the independence of the rule of law, of putting partisan political interests, his own interests, ahead of one of the crucial underpinnings of our democracy in Canada, and that is the independence of our judiciary. So for those of you who perhaps don't know or don't remember what the SNC-Lavalin scandal was, SNC-Lavalin is a company that does a bunch of engineering and consulting work. They were charged with many different things. I believe bribery. One of the things that came up was having bribed Libyan officials with prostitutes in Canada. And they were, with regard to these charges, they were seeking or lobbying the government to implement and use something called a deferred prosecution agreement so that the case wouldn't go to trial. And then all of this ruling here was about whether or not Justin Trudeau had used his political influence to try and make Jody Wilson-Raybould, who was then the Attorney General, of course she was fired by Justin Trudeau for not doing this, to make Jody Wilson-Raybould overturn a decision made by the independent judiciary to have that case go to trial. And you'll remember when all of this broke, part of the thing that came forward, like when Jody Wilson-Raybould testified, we heard things and testimony related to the Prime Minister bringing up the fact that he was a member of Parliament from Quebec, and that the company was based out of Quebec, and that this could potentially have electoral consequences for the Liberal Party. So why is this so important? First of all, it doesn't matter how you vote. Everybody in Canada should be concerned about the independence of our judiciary, the independence of our democratic institutions. And today, the leader of our country, Justin Trudeau, was found to have interfered in that. Unequivocally, this is an official person, the Conflict of Interest Commissioner and Ethics Commissioner. He's charged with overseeing whether or not conflict of interest violations happen. That happened today. That report was just issued, and I encourage you to go look at it. So you can't have a democratic country when the government is interfering in the judicial system, right? That's where corruption happens. So if you've got a government who is willing to interfere in criminal proceedings for their friends, what are they going to do to their enemies? And everybody should be holding Justin Trudeau to account for this. The second thing that you need to think about is that Justin Trudeau, for how many months now, has said nothing to see here, folks. And more importantly, he smeared an Indigenous woman who is a very strong, very strong legislator. I don't agree with her on all of her policies, but she stood up to him. And remember the smear job that happened against her? He had his cabinet ministers were complicit in this. They stood up in the House of Commons day after day after day defending him while she got turfed, right? So outside of the fact that the judiciary was influenced, this speaks to the character of the Prime Minister, that he would go to such lengths as to smear a so-called feminist, to smear a woman and try to ruin her career over this. And he needs to be held to account for that. And third of all, I am an Alberta MP. And this Prime Minister he broke the law. And that came out today to protect a company who is accused of very serious charges, including, this prostitution bribery stuff, while he went out of his way to ruin the economy in my province. This is not the mark of a leader. who has the moral authority to govern this country. You know, smearing somebody who dared stand up to him and firing her, basically saying democracy doesn't exist in Canada by interfering in our judicial system, and then going out of his way to ruin the economy of a province, plus the economy of a country based on that, and telling people that their jobs are dirty while protecting friends that, you know, stand accused of really sort of heinous stuff. That is just wrong. Here's the thing, folks. Regardless of how you vote, and especially if you voted Liberal, no person is above the law in this country. No person is above the law. And today, Justin Trudeau was found guilty of something very, very serious. So now it's up to you. We're going to push this message out. We're going to push for accountability. But you need to hold him to account, and you need to tell your friends that this is not a person who has the moral authority to govern this country. There is an election in 68 days, and this guy's got to go. He's got to go. I don't care how you vote. You cannot vote for this man. This is unprecedented. Think about this. For all of you, many of you are, you know, new Canadians who have come to our country, have come to Canada, have worked so hard to build our country, to build a good life. And many of you, when I talk to you about this issue, have said, I fled from countries where this sort of stuff happened. I don't want this to happen here. So we cannot allow Canadian democracy to be eroded like this. Democracy doesn't die in a fiery explosion like you see in Hollywood. It happens when each and every one of you who are watching this video, it happens when each and every single one of this video say, oh, you know, whatever. I mean, it's not the end of the world, right? Come on, come on. Every single person in Canada needs to hear about this, and every single person in our country needs to care. If you care about democracy, Justin Trudeau has to go. Working hard for you in Calgary. Have a great day.